The thing about America, far as races, is that we have a variety. And there's a variety of ways in which an aesthetic of good looking can come across, okay? Without a doubt, every race of person in this country has someone within that race that is just absolutely beautiful, and people stop and gawk and look at them. Most of the time, and this is just how it is, it's the good looking tall people with those strong chiseled cheekbones. They're athletic or thin or and they got the height. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear. The genetically blessed, in other words. Before I go off into this subject, let me say if you are genetically blessed, no one should hate on you. And the reason I need to give this long form disclaimer is because I'm going to say some stuff that's offensive. Okay. Imagine having the genetic lottery of being good looking and have the wherewithal to also be intelligent. And intelligence don't just have to mean having a degree or having some type of certificate. That means you speak with eloquence, you speak with class and decorum. Imagine being both of those things. Because on YouTube as well as off YouTube, there are some beautiful people that are both. And we all know that they are. No matter what, some people can eat what they want and hardly gain weight. Some people gonna always have beautiful hair, beautiful teeth, beautiful features. Like fine wine, they just gonna age better. From cradle to grave, they were just beautiful. Some might gain a little bit of weight, but because they got the height, they got the commanding presence, that's going to exist. That's the first point I want to make. You can have both the good looks and intelligence. Okay? And no one should hate on you because you fought for that intelligence and you worked for that, and the good looks are just genetic. You can't help that. This excludes people who got plastic surgery. Do what you do with your body, but I'm talking about people who don't get enhancements like that. It's just there. The second thing I want to hurry up and go and tell you is that this video, when I get to talking about sultry capitalism, does not include people who dress in skimpy clothes when you are doing the skimpy clothes because of your career. For example, track runners, people who do track and field, wear very little because it makes you lightweight for running. Layers will just wear you down in that sport. I'm not talking about you. People who are personal trainers, you wear very little. You don't have to, but the thing is, it's all about being lightweight. If you are a personal trainer and you wear very little, even if you are an athletic swimmer, again, some sports, it's better to be lightweight because layers can come back to hurt you in those sports. I'm not talking about you. Okay? So that's my disclaimer. Now we're going to move into it. I'm going to give you three things here momentarily, but right now let's discuss what sultry capitalism is. This is the one that I think may burn out the quickest. I've noticed since the pandemic, and maybe there were some people before this, that have a certain amount of intelligence, and this is mostly women, so I already know I'm going to tick somebody off. Pretty women getting online that either have advanced degrees like medicine or law or some other profession. It can even be IT, trying to talk about these subjects while being sexy. And the same thing, now there are very few men that do this, but women do this more than anybody. You'll see them with their low cut tops and stuff constantly. You'll see them dressing sultry and acting sultry, or they do it in a lowbrow way. Okay. I get that YouTube is an entertainment platform, and I get that the information you may be given is boring, because I'll be honest, my channel's boring and I'm okay with that. If anything, I would consider myself mediocre and nothing special to look at. I'm not ugly, but I'm not genetically blessed with those good looks that some people have. Where it becomes a problem is when you do this sultry stuff and line it up with your intelligence, but then you don't want the clap back when people say something to you. I'll give you an example. One person, not the best one person on YouTube, very intelligent woman, you can tell she does her research, her editing is on point. Had done a video on an important topic, and I won't say what that topic was. And her top, if she just kept moving a little bit more, was going to come loose, and you were going to see some things. Pardon that noise in my background. I hate when that happens. Had the nerve to say, look back up here. I'm going to paraphrase. Look back up here and don't be looking at my boobs. Yeah, you can tell that the way she postured herself in front of the camera, she wanted you to look at. See, the sultry capitalist is one who's one of great contradictions. They can either talk intelligently and or have the degrees to back it up. So they figure that they can use their looks as well as their intelligence to make their money and show off their body without actually selling it. Because if you're just talking about boring topics, right, it can get on people's nerves. And if you have your clothes on, which you should, then it could still be boring to people. But you leave nothing to the imagination, or you get people talking because of your low cut tops or how cute you're trying to be. Then that gives you a niche and makes you extra special. And don't act like it, because some of y'all females do this. The women do this more than the men, where you'll talk about intelligent topics and have all your stuff hanging out. I'm critical of this because I reasonably believe you can have a certain amount of beauty and intelligence without being that way. Okay? That's what sultry capitalism is. I'm very smart. I'm knowledgeable in one or more areas in this, that, or the other field. You can even look these people up offline and you'll find that a lot of their credentials are true. They're just trying to make knowledge sexy, and it's kind of kooky, but to each his own. Here's the 3 reasons why sultry capitalism will fade for you really quick. Number 1 is the obvious. Looks will fade, okay? There's just no way to get around that. You can be the most beautiful person in the world. Something's going to creep up as you get older. Your hair might grow gray faster. You might get those crow's feet. You might get the gooseneck like I have. This stuff happens. Life happens to all of us. Okay? And when we go into looks, when I say looks fade, I also mean as you grow older and you've been on the platform for a while. If some woman particularly, because there are some men that do this, but if some woman see that that's worked for you and she thinks she's an ounce or an iota of cute, she's going to copy your blueprint. And bad news for you is that she's going to be younger and cuter, and so she's going to take attention from you that you had. because that's just how the cookie crumbles. If a person think that just having a pretty face and wearing low cut tops so that you can see the crease of their boob, that's easy money, that's easy pickings for them, they're gonna do it. One minute you're the hot thing, yet next minute your 15 is up. That's what happens with sultry capitalism. It's a good thing you have your intelligence, but once you put it out there by wearing low cut tops and trying to make knowledge sexy, it's kind of hard to walk that back when you did it to yourself. Number 2, the one that's going to make people mad. It will diminish your intelligence. And what I mean is, if you give people a show, they came for the show. If your boobs are out and you all in front of the camera and you're saying, I'm free and this is my body and I can do what I want, you're absolutely right. No one's arguing that. Nor are we arguing that that's not a workable strategy for you. But you're ostensibly naive if you think for a second that a lot of people who sub to you because solely for your intelligence, and that they'll overlook just your looks. Sometimes it'll wear down on you because they came for that beauty. They came for that face. They probably like how you talk. They probably like how your eyes look. They're sizing you up. And look, this can happen on channels where women are covered up as well. Okay, I'm not here to make anyone mad. But understand, while you're trying to do the sexy intelligence thing, it is the sex appeal that drew people to you. And maybe a few people will get something intelligent out of what you say, but they're looking at your assets rather than looking at your intelligence. It is what it is. You can sit and convince yourself it's not that. And if you're on YouTube doing this, you know who you are. Number 3 goes kind of back to number 1. Desperation. See, you're so hooked on that attention right now that when it goes away, you're going to do desperate things to hold on to it. You might turn bitter and start hating on people because you think they quote unquote stole your shine. No, everybody's shine is temporary. All of this is temporary. It always has been. Your desperation might drive you to be bitter against your younger counterparts coming up who used your business model, watched you, perfected it, and then took over, because some other pretty girl behind you with either a college education or who wants to be a sexy construction worker and talk about how sexy it is, or sexy truck driver, trust, she's ready to take her place. Some may not even be trying to dethrone you and may admire you, but they still know their worth when it comes to making the money, and therefore they're not going to have any qualms about doing it. See, a second part of this desperation revolves around you going and then getting enhancements against the things that are starting to fade in order to keep this relevance, because you would eventually have to hit it that when that runs out for you. This was a harsh one, I know. And I know it's one of those things where people going to look me up and find pictures of me fat and bloated, because I know they're out there. Pictures I had no control of, some of them. Because it's going to be easier to scrutinize my looks and tell me why you say this about people's looks. But if you know you're on this man's internet using your looks, and this is not a race thing, because women of all races on this YouTube, I've seen them do it. If you know on all these social media platforms that you're the one doing it, make your money, do you. But when that aesthetic runs its steam, you got to understand that your 15 minutes are up. And there's not a darn thing you can do to get that back. You can have looks and intelligence at the same time. But what you have to recognize is that your looks will take on a different form as time goes by. While you're basking in this aesthetic, stack your money and have some contingency and backup plan. Because trust and believe, if you're using your looks while pretending to use your intelligence, your time is already, that clock already started to move faster than you think.